Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're live at the clubhouse. Today we have a special guest, local legend, cowboy, small business owner, Frisbee disc launcher, Miami Dolphins fan, among many other things, Mr. Brock Quinlan. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Ben. How are you doing, man?
Good. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me in.
Not a problem.
Pretty cool what you're doing here, so.
Let's have some fun, and I wanted to highlight maybe some things that you've done this far in your life. I think other guys could resonate with it and learn from the path that you've taken. So I'm ready for some wisdom from you today, Brock.
All right, we'll see what I got in me, so.
Can you give us maybe just start us off in the early days of where you were at in life and kind of your path to starting your own biz?
So I went to college, graduated college from Siena Heights. All 4 years of college, I worked renovations all summer. So that's where I kind of got into, the painting renovations. I did like doing everything in the renovations, but in terms of starting on your own, like I'm not gonna just take on renovations without really mastering it.
It's a lot to take on.
Yeah, painting is what I was pretty good at, so kind of stuck with that. After college, I went out west for a few summers. So what I would do is I'd work out there on a ranch all summer.
Colorado?
Yep, Colorado. And then come back here and paint all winter with Bailey. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bailey.
Yep, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, Bales. But yeah, we'd paint all winter here. And then, so after my first summer out there, I actually, in Colorado, I was able to run the barn the next year. So I took Bailey out there and my other buddy, Dom. And so Bailey and I, for the next 2 years, we just bounced back and forth from Colorado to here. So
Nice.
Ranch work out there, paint back here.
Not a bad life.
Yeah, no, it was a good life, a great life, so.
And you got to bring the boys along, and
Yeah.
I think everybody grew from that experience.
Yeah, we did. It was some personal growth. I mean, the long days on the ranch, you get, a little chippy here and there sometimes,
sure.
But I mean, yeah, I wish I could relive those days all the time.
Yeah.
Very, very grateful to go out there with, two of my best friends. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you guys, what made that come to an end, the yearly cowboy experience?
So when I originally started there, the family that owned it, they owned it for 97 years. It was very, tight-knit, everything like that. The second year out there, it was still owned by that family, but both years it was for sale.
Oh, wow.
In between the second and third year, it sold. Someone else took ownership of it, and it just wasn't quite the same, so. And getting, you can't do that for forever,
Right.
So it was a good
was a
note
season.
to go on. Yep, yeah, so.
So when you got back, what did that start to look like, or what made you decide to kind of really start hammering down on the painting business?
So originally was not positive what I was going to do. I put in a few applications at some places, but nothing ever really went through. Actually, when I came back, I think full time, I was working with you to start. Yeah.
You put in some cold
days.
days.
Yeah. But
the pride and joy of Monroe.
Yeah, it was. That was, I believe, in 2019, though. That was going into 2020. That was after the first summer out there. But
just as a quick blip, we put in that was probably about 1,000 feet of, I don't even know what kind of fence you would call it.
You dug a trench too.
But it was to replicate an 1800s settlement fence for a local historical park.
Yeah.
And we had to dig a trench, about a 900-foot trench, and actually put the fence panels in the ground rather than set the fence on posts. And Brock, we had to take each cedar plank and cut a notch on the top. And Brock probably cut a couple thousand of those.
The 2 rips on the side and then the rip across the front.
With a chainsaw. We were definitely in negative temperatures a couple times.
Yeah.
And there was times where I personally had to run around the property to warm my body up while on that job. So,
Yeah.
but now we
That
can
was
look back
yeah,
on that.
that was awesome. Driving up in there in the van every day.
Yeah.
You'd have Bo in the morning,
Yeah.
drop Bo off, be
Those,
on our way.
the most difficult days sometimes are the most memorable
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I remember before my first day on there, I drove back 18 hours, 45 minutes straight back from Colorado back here. I'm home for 10 minutes. The first thing Bryce says is, "Are you coming to work?" He just
18
wanted
hours?
to. Yeah. I drove it straight, drank a bang and a half. The second one was making me feel a little too jittery. But the first thing Bryce said to me is, "Are you coming to work?"
The next day you were there.
Yeah, well, I believe there was a day in between, but Bryce was so just wanting some help on that.
We needed
because I
help.
know, you guys built those panels for forever too. So.
We also brought Bailey out there to
Yeah,
smack all the nails.
Bailey was hammering all those.
He still has
nails
wrist
down.
problems from smacking those nails that day.
That was awesome. We had to nail in all of those nails in a row, one end, and then go to the other side and knock them down.
Because they were basically a railroad spike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you had to smack them on the backside.
Yeah.
We maybe should have bought like a heavier hammer or something.
Bailey had the heavy one.
Yeah.
Bailey
did
we
a
had the
good
light
job.
ones. Yeah.
Bailey should be here with us today so
Yeah,
we can
he
give him a
should.
hard time.
Yeah.
But
He's
so
going to be eating that up.
also shout out to Bailey. He chose the B&B Painting, Brock's business, painted this garage. They came up with the colors. Bailey, I got to give Bailey credit for the color on the walls, which is a porpoise by Sherwin-Williams. And I say it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, great for the man cave.
There's a
It
couple
fits.
spots I'd like to talk to Bailey about, though.
Oh, man.
So at this point in the paint biz, how many years have you been doing it now?
So I guess Bailey and I have been on our own since 2019. So that's when we started the Winners, where we'd paint about, 6 months a year, 7 months a year together. Legally, LLC was 2021. That's when
Okay.
we started up. And then we brought on most of our guys, pretty much all of our guys besides our girl in 2022 we brought on. So
And how many people now work
we
at
have,
B&B Painting?
it's myself and 5 others.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a strong team.
Yeah, it is a strong team. It's a fast team. So we are at the point now. It was tough in the beginning because it was just Bailey and I. And then we had this guy, Matt, ask for a job, and he brought him on sometime in the spring, had plenty of work, and then brought on 2 more guys, Kyle and Sugg, within the same week.
Wow.
So you have like 2 guys, Bailey and I, who pretty much know everything, and then you have 3 guys who really aren't sure what to do. So it's slow, and it's, you got to be patient, but the guys have just flourished. I mean, we just flow now. So everyone knows what to do. We have our kind of system, and it just goes great. So
How long do you think that took to develop a crew of 5 or 6 people to really be on the same page and get things going?
I think probably same page. I mean, somewhere,
Like until
I mean,
just
in
recently?
under a year. Well, no, I'd say like we all kind of knew, like had a good, everyone was flowing pretty well, probably under a year. But by the time it's like, once everyone puts in a good couple years, you fine tune everything,
Right.
like the exteriors, the interiors, the cabinets, like everyone kind of has their role of like what they are already anticipating they're doing before you get to the job.
Right.
And it just goes great. I mean, and everyone works as a team. So very grateful.
Has that been a stressful approach to have that many guys that you have to think every day of, like, I've got to pay 5 or 6 guys every day and benefits? And Brock takes care of his guys, I will say that. And every time you go to his job site, I'll visit them once in a while. They're all in a great mood. Everybody seems to really love being there and actually be a part of what they're building together. So there's a lot to say about creating a work environment that, in a culture these days that a lot of people don't actually want to work, especially manual labor or trades. It's I give Brock a lot of credit for building a team that is great guys, respectful, and they all want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You can count on them.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I think, a good chunk of the guys have struggled with jobs before. I think a lot of the success is you don't force them to work. You're never like, they have to give me a heads up, but they can take off anytime, you know, they want. We had a guy this past year take off a month and a week to travel around the whole country. And it's like, you know, he asked me about that and I was like, yeah, it's fine. Why wouldn't it be fine? You know, it's your life, your whole life shouldn't be working, you know,
Right.
but when you are working, you do have to, you know, give someone the product that they're paying for. You know, you got to bring quality to it. So,
Absolutely.
and all the guys are on the same page with that. Don't, you know, cut corners, don't do that. But if you don't force someone to work, it actually makes them much more like open to working, you know.
Right.
But life comes first, work second. So if
Right.
they have any issues going on in their life, you know, don't stress about work, you know, figure out your life and then work secondary. So.
It seems rare to offer that kind of freedom to a lot of guys these days, because I think they probably go into a lot of jobs thinking like and you do have to take it seriously, but they don't feel like there's much leeway if things come up in life or if they want to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's been something I've tried to be conscious of as well, is especially these young guys. You want them to go experience life.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to go do a trip across the country, you want them to do that because you know it's going to build them as a person. It's going to build their character. And no, maybe you don't want them to do that every month.
Yeah.
Because you do need a certain amount of time where you can work together. But when opportunities arise, they've got to be able to get out there and see what's going on.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of how I look at it. I mean, I just pretty much, you know, I treat them the way like I would like to be treated in the workplace. We'll never book anything that like I wouldn't personally do myself. A lot of times if we are doing an exterior with harder parts, I'll make sure I do that myself so the guys don't have to do that.
Get up tall on the ladder.
Yeah,
or something.
yep, stuff like that. Dirty jobs, anything like that. I try to make sure I'm doing like the, you know, least likable thing on the job, and it makes it easier. But then in turn, the guys will do that no problem. But you know, you can't put yourself above people. You're on the level. You're working with them, you know.
Right.
So that is, and that, yeah, the results show for that. So
to approach people and business with humility is a lost art.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But it goes a long way.
Yeah, and that is one of my big things with painting too. I mean, you see a lot of painting companies and they have like perfection in their, no job is perfect. No painting job is perfect. Nothing.
You can't have a painting company called Perfection Painting.
No. Well, like so many painters have like perfection somewhere in the name, but in the way I see it, you know, you can get really good, do really good. Nothing's going to be absolutely perfect.
Right.
But you're just trying to bring them the best product you're able to.
Well, and you know, seams are never perfect.
Yeah,
Drywall's
never perfect. You know, texture matching, you can always get close, but it's never going to be perfect. I mean, you can take all the steps. There's never a perfect job.
Right.
So.
Right. Would you say, like, what would you say to somebody now that was thinking about starting their own business or kind of wanting to be independent or find like a service that they really enjoyed? Like, what would be a couple words of advice or thoughts to keep in mind?
What I would say to someone starting up, it is going to be a lot more time than you originally think. It's a massive learning curve. I wish, you know, you're going to have to be patient through the whole process. I mean, when I started up, I had no idea it'd be this amount of time, like each day. But then again, the great part about having like a crew is I can go and get other things done and like work towards that while they're getting the labor done, you know,
Right.
estimates, stuff like that, just cleaning in general. But yeah, I mean, it takes up a lot more time, but really if you can push far enough, it's absolutely worth it because you get the freedom of your own schedule.
Right.
You get to make your own schedule. Turns out to be way more hours than you would work for any other job. But at the end of the day, you want to take a trip, you want to do anything. You're not working for some corporate guy saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You know,
Right.
oh, put in more hours. You're not meeting the quota. So
The freedom is kind of a catch-22 because
it is.
You're stripped of a little freedom because of what the business requires of you, but also you're able to choose when you make those sacrifices and when you want to leave,
Yeah.
and what you want to do.
Yeah, especially like even in terms of phone calls. I mean, if you're on vacation, for a week or so, you still have to take calls at bare minimum. You
Right.
know, you still have to check in with the guys almost daily. So you never truly clock out, but over the years, it's gotten much easier. So,
Right.
but it is a lot of time, but it's absolutely worth it. You got to have a lot of self-discipline, you know, a lot of time, a lot of evenings. A lot of your working is when the guys aren't necessarily working, you
Right.
know. So,
Do you feel like you've been able to lock a lot of that stuff in and find more efficient methods of like doing estimates, making calls, that kind of stuff?
yeah, absolutely. I'd say I'm much more calm now than I was a few years ago. Um, I've like hit a point in life, mistakes are always going to happen sometime or another. You know, like we had one guy 2 summers ago masking something up, popped a little copper wire on an AC unit. But he's masking up working. I mean, that's a $700 fix, but that's okay. Mistakes are going to happen,
Right.
you know. But the biggest thing in terms of painting is to just be safe. You know, like set up things safely, do things safely. Like you don't want anyone to get hurt.
Right.
So but mistakes
Which you don't
do
think,
happen.
you wouldn't necessarily think you could get hurt painting, but you're in a lot of positions.
Oh,
that
you can
get.
absolutely, yeah. Exteriors, oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Exterior.
so-
Yeah.
Interiors, not too bad on average, but exteriors, yes.
I want to hear a little bit about your approach to when you're starting out and maybe you don't have a ton of money to buy everything that you need, and what your process looked like in kind of slowly getting the right equipment and getting the right tools, vehicles, etc.
So that whole process, well, I am extremely grateful because I live with my aunt. So that helped out a ton for money-wise, everything like that. She also has a pole barn. So that helped me out tremendously in terms of putting stuff in there. But I would prefer, like, I started out slow. You know, we had 1 sprayer, all the guys, eventually got a second smaller sprayer too. Now we have 8 or 9 sprayers, you know. All the Festool stuff. We have dustless sanders, all the blowers. I mean, just all this stuff. So the way I started is, you know, you make a little profit off a job. You basically use that to get more tools. And it's kind of, you just keep doing that over and over and over.
Right.
And eventually it kind of plateaus to where, all right, I have enough things. But I wouldn't recommend buying it all at once.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to put it all on a credit card, go into debt, and then chase paying off that debt.
I
So
agree.
that would be the hardest thing to overcome.
I think it's hard for a lot of people to go into business slow and to take it at their own pace where, okay, I got this job, maybe I'll get a couple more
Yeah.
drills. I got this job, maybe I'll grab a new sprayer.
Yeah.
And but that allows everything to grow more naturally and organically, I would say, to where you're not biting off more than you can chew.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're 100% right on that.
Did you ever feel like you got into a position where you tried to grow too quickly, or did everything feel pretty natural to you?
So the way we mainly grew, I mean, the way we grew is we did not, besides this last year, we did not hire a single person. Kind of everyone came to us. We joked with one person, he was a mover, and he was like employee of the month. And we were like, oh, we're going to hire you, like blah, blah. We joked with a buddy like that, but then he ended up coming on.
Nice.
So I guess I wouldn't say we pursued him too hard, but everyone just kind of flowed in. And, you know, that was 2022, and that was during the summertime. So it's pretty easy to add all those guys in the summer. When it gets hard is the winter. Everything slows down.
Yeah.
It's kind of the famine. And everyone's, you know, cutting their prices on jobs, doing this and that to get jobs, and you're just competing with everyone
Right.
to just try to stay busy. So when you employ that amount of people over like the winter, that's when it's tough.
Right.
The summer, we could double our crew and still have plenty
Really?
of work. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It just comes in waves.
Yeah, it does. That's
The
the
winters
nature
are
of the
slow
beast.
in most trades. It seems.
Yeah, yep. But, you know, when you hire those guys, you take on the responsibility, okay, like I am in charge of, you know, finding you work, like finding us work year round, you know. You don't want to, like for me, I don't want to lose the guys and have them go do something else, you know, that you want to give them consistent work. So,
Right. And that is a weight on your shoulders.
yeah, you know, in the winter, I mean, it is what it is. It's just slower in the winter. And the guys do understand that. They're very understanding. But I mean, this winter we've done pretty darn good so far. So just
I-
got to push through.
I hear a lot of guys consistently talking about how nobody wants to work. The good guys are hard to find. The list goes on. And I don't necessarily totally agree with that. I do think in a whole, there's a lot of people that probably don't want to work out there. But from your experience and mine, seems like we've always had good, reliable, young guys or girls come into our lives and work with us at the right times and at the right moments. And just guys that have really grown and developed into like young men.
Yeah, I agree. I would say it's more how you treat someone. If someone comes and just starts up a job and you're just, ignoring them, being mean, and when someone starts, they don't know anything. That's
Yeah.
one of the hardest parts. Like a lot of the ways we talk and stuff when we're painting, it's like common knowledge to us, but you bring in someone new, that's like a different language to them.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of stuff that is just like, in the back of our brains, everyday stuff like prepping, stuff like that, they don't know that. So
Right.
to start from square one takes a lot of patience with someone. And I think maybe guys have an issue like treating people like that because they don't know everything they do. But
You have to meet them where they're at
yeah,
until
yeah.
they start to learn what's going on,
Yeah.
which as someone who's done it for a while can be difficult to do because you're just like, dude, just tape that up and pull that up. You know what I mean? And
It's very hard. You got to take a few steps back and be like, whoa, hold on.
yeah, we're starting at square one.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I've had guys come out with me and it goes over my head that they don't know what's going on. I'm like, hey, can you just set that post and put it over there? And they're like,
Yeah.
what do I do?
And it's scary for someone to start a new job too, They don't know what's going on, so it's a lot harder to process everything.
Right.
So, but yeah. I don't know.
What would you say at this point has helped you? Do you feel like you have found a work-life balance? Do you feel like you get consumed by work and maybe don't pay attention to the other things in your life? Or do you feel like you've kind of, I'll start off by saying you seem to always find time to travel.
Yeah.
And I respect that about you because I think a lot of guys get so consumed with work that they forget to do the things that they actually like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what kind of refreshes you as a person to go do some things that you like to do amongst work. So I'd like to get on your travel schedule myself.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, for me, if I had the option of, working 60 hours a week for 3 weeks and traveling for 1, I'd choose that every time because you get more out of like your days. But when we first started up, I definitely was work, nonstop, weekends, just always trying to catch up. A few years in now, it's a little easier to manage that and to, take the time and say, it's not the end of the world if I don't do something today, if I don't do this, don't do that, take time off. It's like life's more important than just working nonstop.
That wall will still be there to be painted.
Yes,
tomorrow.
yeah. It's more important to live life than to work nonstop. But with owning, a business, you kind of do work nonstop, but you get to do a lot of great things, in turn with that. So,
what would you say is like your top motivation at this point to continue to work, to continue to build the business and be with the guys? I mean, what really like gets you going?
I think it's just freedom of schedule, and I really enjoy working with the guys.
Right.
I mean, it's to come into like a workplace with just a bunch of young dudes and a girl, but everyone's in a good mood every day. Like no one's really complaining. We're like a big family now. There's no drama. We just get work done. I mean, that's great. You
Right.
can't,
You can't find that many places.
No, you can't. Like, do I want to go and sit in an office for 8 hours and be miserable? No.
Right. You'd rather be hanging with the boys.
Yeah. It's like
making fun
great.
of each
It's
other.
almost not even work, I mean, it is work, but especially in the summers, like the exteriors, we're much more spread out and it's just fun. I mean, we did a job up in the Irish Hills this last summer and we were there about 3.5, 4 weeks, but a huge exterior. I mean, the guys
I drove
would come.
past that job. It looked good.
Yeah,
I
you
saw that
did.
one.
Yeah, on the moped.
On Round Lake.
Yep, yeah.
That was a beauty.
But that was a ton of fun. I mean, we're hoping to get like a job a year up in that area. But we just hang out in the cottage all evening. Some guys would stay the night. We go swim on the boat. And I mean, it's just fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you guys do any fishing during that job?
We did a little bit. Suggy caught, I think, his first fish in years.
Nice.
We all went out on the pontoon one evening, and Isaac was just like slaying him. Like he caught like 17, and I'm just like struggling.
17.
Yeah,
That's a
yep.
strong
And we're
night.
just all going after
On
it.
Round Lake or
At Deep Lake.
Nice.
We took the pontoon out, and like Sug and I both caught 3, and like the whole time he was up a little bit, and he's just jawing like saying he's gonna catch more than me. But
this guy can
was
fish
fun.
into the middle of the night. I mean, he'll be out there. You can't even
Yeah.
see, and he's casting
Yeah.
right out there.
It's fun.
You got to have some things that you enjoy.
Oh yeah.
So it's been great talking to you, Brock. Obviously, we have these, Brock and I have these kind of talks all the time, but thought it might be cool to do one in front of the camera to hopefully shed a little light, encourage, and if nothing else, just tell some good stories and kind of introduce ourselves out there. But hopefully it encourages anyone out there thinking about starting their own biz or getting into a trade or really just stepping up and becoming a strong, independent young man. And yeah, we hope you guys have a great day, and we will catch you next time. What do you think, Brock?
Hopefully that was good, Ben.